making sure we really are getting the most value from our leads and making sure that we're starting conversations for ourselves. We all know that real estate is a relationship-based business, but in order to build those relationships, we got to have some sort of engagement. So if you have any specific questions, as I kind of go through this presentation today, we're going to kind of jump back and forth between screens on this kind of presentation that I have put together. And we will really kind of go into the dashboard and really walk through it. So I want to dive into our smart CRM first and really kind of talk about some really cool re-engagement activities that we can do on a daily basis that are going to help us be successful. So in our smart CRM, we have the ability to prospect or filter out by all of our prospects. And based on their behavior, we have the ability to also filter out based on that last time active. We also have the option of filtering out by status of sphere and those contact types of vendors. We also have sphere and past clients as well, which I'll show you because that is not a contact type. We'll actually add that as a hashtag. So I want to go into my dashboard on my KV Core. And in here under the tabs over off to the far left, we're going to have a smart CRM tab. And this is going to take me to my database. And in here, I have the ability to go in and filter out basically by contact type. I could filter out by status. I could see all of my activity. I have a bunch of test leads in here right now, but we can basically see that database that's in our CRM. And then essentially what I want to make sure that I'm doing on a daily basis is trying to start conversations for myself. And this is something that I go over if you've been through one of the coaching sessions or anything like that. This is something that you can go over and really kind of get used to doing on a daily basis. It's on one of my 5 activities that agents should do on a daily basis to start conversations for you. You might perform what we call as lead CPR, resuscitate some of those leads, bring them back to action, into being active. So essentially what we want to do here is we have 3 things that I have on my slides, which the first one was to filter out by a prospect status of leads who have not been active. And the way that we would do that is up here at the top, I would click on this filter option and I can filter out by a status type, right? So I could filter out by a prospect. I can then also go in and filter out by lead details. So maybe I only want to pull a list of leads who are buyers, or a list of leads who are sellers, or a list of leads who are vendors. You'll have the really kind of cool opportunity to categorize all your leads. And I'm going to show you why that's important here in a second. But basically, I can come into here at any point in time and filter out by my prospects who are buyers. And under my behaviors options, you have options like the last time they were active, right? And that's my first kind of scenario, is filtering out by prospects who were last active over a month ago, right? And this is one that I like to use because maybe they signed up, maybe we just have no engagement going with them. Maybe they haven't responded to our text, our phone calls, our emails, but I know they're searching properties, or maybe they aren't searching properties, right? So they were searching when they signed up, but now they've all of a sudden just stopped and we have not had any communication. So the last time active, I'll actually be able to go in and click on apply filters. And in here, I'm not going to have any at the time just because my database isn't like 1,000 leads deep right now. But you'll have the ability to go in and create those filters. And then one of the re-engagement activities that I like to really kind of coach on is we'd have the ability, maybe this is 50 leads long, maybe it's 20 leads long, maybe it's 30 leads long, totally up to you and how many leads are in your database. But I would select all and I would use my mass communication features to easily send out a text that says, hey, just going through my database, wanted to reach out, see if you're still looking to buy, sell, or maybe you've already found your dream property and are no longer looking. Just trying to update my database and see if you fit one of those 3 categories. Respond back to me and let me know so that way I can provide you service if needed, right? And we can use that in a mass text. You can also use one of the kind of cool features, which is now on the KV Core platform, which is Core Video, where you can actually go in and maybe send a video text. And for my re-engagement activity, I might send a video text that says something like, hey, it's Ernest with Inside Real Estate. Just wanted to reach out to you, see how your day was going, and let you know that I am here to help with all your real estate needs. It's been a while since you've been active on my website, so I don't know if maybe you've already found the perfect property, or maybe you've kind of lost hope. Hopefully it's not the second option. I'd love to kind of re-spark that interest and send you some properties that you actually might love, right? So I would send out in a video text using the Core Video. You could even do that via mass email and mass email that same video out to all of those leads as well. But driving re-engagement is going to be important. We all know that, hey, you can generate as many leads as you possibly can. But if all those leads kind of go stale and have no re-engagement or have no activity on your website, we might be missing some opportunities if we're not conducting any kind of practices like this for success, right? So we really want to kind of reach out to all of them proactively, really try and get them re-engaged with us. You'll notice that maybe you have a leads list, you've just gotten onto the platform. In the canned response field, there's actually an imported leads default text that you can use as well, which is really awesome and generates a bunch of responses, kind of similar to that first text that I mentioned. But this will give you the ability to kind of start those conversations for yourself and try and really kind of clean out your database or update your database. So we can go in and we can mass text. We could also use that mass email option. The second kind of action I have in here is your sphere of influence, who are vendors. The platform itself has the ability to basically categorize a lead based on their contact type. And again, contact type, there is that vendor option, right? So on a daily basis, I might be working my sphere of influence who has a contact type of vendor. And there are really kind of unique actions. If you've gone through any kind of like Tom Ferry or Brian Buffini courses, anything like that, they really tell you to work your referral sources, and your vendors should be one of those referral sources. But essentially what we can do here is you have the ability to go in and import or add your database into a sphere status with the contact type of vendor, right? And what that's going to do for you as an agent is now I can also use the hashtag system to go in and basically add a hashtag for like my home inspectors, my LOs, my escrows, my appraisers, my contractors, right? We can create unique hashtags to a specific category of leads so that when I want to come in here and just filter out by my status of sphere, who are a contact type of vendors, and have a hashtag of inspectors. Maybe I have some home inspectors I haven't really done or dealt with the buying side as of recently, but I like to keep my friendship or my partnership with those inspectors kind of warm. I would proactively or do what I consider as a soft touch and reach out to those leads or reach out to those inspectors and just see how it's going. Say, hey, maybe you know someone or a friend or family relative who's actually looking to help sell their home or looking to help them actually buy a home. Use those referral sources to your advantage, right? So they could be in a sphere and a contact type of vendor. And the way that I'm going to do this is, for instance, I have this lead right here who is a demo or a test lead. I can basically open up that lead. Up here in the top left corner, we can open it and the status says currently new lead. I'm going to change that over to sphere. I could also have a contact type of vendor, right? So I'll go ahead and save that. It's going to say, are you sure? Because it's going to affect any smart campaigns that I'm running if this lead is already existing and currently set up on one. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And then under the hashtag, I'm going to label this as something like professional services, right? So I'll go ahead and save it as a professional service. And I can go ahead and update that task. Now, it doesn't have to be professional service. If this could have been an inspector, if it was an inspector that you've added, it could have been, you know, a LO, a title, escrow, anybody like that you could add into the system, put them into that sphere vendor status and contact type, and then add that unique hashtag. So that on a daily basis, maybe you want to drive re-engagement with those leads. Maybe, you know, you've been, maybe haven't been doing as many transactions as you would like. On a daily basis, I would come into here and create a filtered list, right? So now I can go in and I can filter out by a sphere status, a contact type of vendor, and I can also go in and under the hashtag options, I'll have that professional services. So I could apply those filters, and now I have this list of leads in which I have the ability just to mass email or even mass text to drive some re-engagement with those leads or with that sphere of influence, right? So I can go ahead and I can click on mass email, and I could either use one of these templated options. Maybe I'm going to use the ask for referrals. It'll say, hey, Ernest, I really enjoyed working with you. And you could actually change this as well. I really enjoy working with you. And I'll make this say with you on our last buyer transaction. I'm trying to build my business and referrals are the best way to meet new clients. Would you be willing to actually recommend me to anyone you might know looking to buy or sell, right? And I would just go ahead and mass send this out to all 20 of those inspectors. Of course, you don't want to spam them or anything like that, so don't send them promotions or anything. But I would just keep this as what I consider as a soft touch and just say, hey, I enjoyed working with you on our last transaction. You did a great job for my buyer inspecting the property they were purchasing. Do you maybe know of anybody? I'm trying to, build more business for myself. Maybe you know of somebody who's being unrepresented or doesn't have an agent that might be looking to buy or sell, right? And I would go through my CRM and on a daily basis, create these filters. Now, if you're looking at my dashboard, you're probably wondering how I got these tabs here if you don't already know. Basically, since I've created this filter, I can now go ahead and click on filters applied, and I can go ahead and save that filter. And now on my dashboard, I can go in and say professional services for my tab. And when I save that filter, I'm going to show you why it's really cool to save these filters. But the next thing that I can do is just click on it one more time, click on the gear icon. I can see all my filters that I've saved. I can now even quick link that to my dashboard so that anytime I come into my smart CRM, currently it's not filtered out by professional services. But you'll notice now up here at the top, I can go ahead and click that professional services tab, and I get that list of leads of which are in that actual filter. So this is a cool trick that you can use, but for success strategies, I would be doing this on a daily basis. The more conversations you have, the better opportunities you're going to open up for yourself, and ultimately the more successful you're going to be, right? So working that sphere of influence who are vendors, working those prospects who have not been active in the last month. It could be even prospects who haven't been active in the last year, right? Maybe you're trying to go back to those leads you generated last year. Maybe you generated 800 leads last year and you're trying to backtrack and bring maybe some of those leads that told you, hey, I was on hold until spring. I'm on hold until summer. We've all heard those specific scenarios as, hey, I'm putting my search on hold, and then something changes, right? Maybe they get a new job offer. Maybe they need to relocate all of a sudden, and now they need to sell. That's why this is a good practice for success to drive re-engagement, because you never know exactly when that person's going to be ready to either sell or buy a property. Right, so that's my number 2 is your sphere who are vendors. You'll also notice that I have a sphere of past clients. So basically after a year, if you've kind of gone through the agent success plan on the dashboard, you'll have the ability to add a closed campaign that will run for a year before putting that lead into a sphere status. But essentially what I would be doing with this action or with this re-engagement type is going through all the leads that are in my database. And I know I can't, create a custom contact. So they're going to be a sphere. They're going to be a contact type of, if I sold them, or a home, meaning I was the buyer representation or the buyer side of that deal, they are now a seller, right? So they're going to become a seller because most likely they either need to sell in order to buy, or maybe you're going to play some property management role and rent that while they go and buy a new property. Either way, we have the ability again to utilize that hashtags field. So what I would do is I'm going to use this test lead right here. I'm going to say this is a sphere contact who is a seller. I'm going to go ahead and update that. It's going to remove any kind of smart campaigns. So now they're in a sphere seller campaign or a default homeowner sphere campaign, which they're going to be dripped on. But I would actually add a hashtag of past client, and I would put something like 2017. right? And I would go ahead and assign that hashtag to that lead's profile. And basically what that is going to do for you is allow you to go in and now filter out by that sphere status of contact types to our seller, past client 2017. And I'm going to show you some cool things that you could do with these hashtags for more re-engagement activities as well. But now I have the ability to go in and filter or create that filtered list, right? So just like I did that first one, go into my sphere status, go into my contact type of seller, and then under my hashtags option, I'm gonna only pull the hashtags of past clients closed 2017. Now I can go in and I can mass text all those leads. I could mass email all those leads. Again, we're not spamming them. We don't want to send them promotions. We want to send them either value, or we want to really kind of do like I said, consider is a soft touch and just say, hey, how's it going? How's the neighborhood? I hope you're loving everything. Was actually in the neighborhood, checking out that property down the street that's for sale. Hey, by the way, if you know of any neighbors that are wanting to sell, definitely wouldn't mind you putting my hat or my name in the hat, to be interviewed for their selective agent. I know you would probably be able and like the opportunity to choose, who's moving into your neighborhood, or see if one of your friends want to buy that house or something along those lines, right? But just some cool ways that you can use hashtags when it comes to re-engagement, right? And you want to be careful with CAPV and RESPA and stuff like that and code of ethics. So don't say choose who's going to move into your neighborhood, but maybe they know someone who actually wants to move into the neighborhood and you could help them do that, right? So have the opportunity to select your next neighbor is how I would put it. But you have the option of filtering out by that and using these mass email, mass text features. We also, on the next slide, are going to have the ability in business analytics under consumer interests, we're going to be able to drive re-engagement with leads who have viewed properties. That doesn't necessarily mean just going to my dashboard and clicking on properties to see leads who have viewed a property, right? Because we know I can go to my dashboard and I can click on that properties tab, and I'm going to get a list of leads in this activity stream that's basically going to show me what those leads are looking at. This just simply means that over off to the left, we have a business analytics tab. And this is just a cool way, if you haven't seen this yet or not, it's just a shortcut of getting into your listings tab. But I'm going to go to consumer interest. And inside of consumer interest, there's going to be this top properties row here in the middle. That's going to show me the top 10 most viewed properties and also the top 10 saved properties. What that does for me is basically shows me the properties that are hot commodities on my website, right? So I could see that there's one property view on this particular listing. I could go ahead and click on that MLS ID number, and it's going to take me to that listing on the backside of my dashboard. And then while I'm in here, if I click on view activity, it's going to show me a list of leads that have actually previewed that property. The re-engagement activity that you might conduct here is, let's say this is not my listing, but it is pending, right? This one currently isn't pending right now, but if it was pending, I'm going to mass email or mass text all those leads that have viewed that property and say, hey, that property went under contract. Would you like me to send you similar listings? Or maybe this is your listing and you're the listing agent trying to drive traffic for your seller. I might reach out to all those leads and say something like, hey, I'm doing a virtual tour this Saturday from 12 to 2. Here's a link, pop onto it if you'd love to take a virtual tour of this property and ask any specific questions to a licensed agent, right? So you have some really cool opportunities in here that you can help create for yourself by using those mass email, using the mass text features, and trying to drive that re-engagement. I can even start calling one by one through this list and saying, hey, Ernest, my system notified me, said you had some interest on 521 in North Broadway in Clarkstown, New York. Just thought I'd reach out, see if you wanted to schedule an in-person tour of that property. It looks like you only looked at it once, so I didn't know if, that wasn't the right property for you or not. But if it wasn't, I'd love to send you some properties if you want to kind of update me as to what your criteria is. All right, so you have the ability to really kind of perform some activities in that essence. So you have that option of accessing, a list of leads for re-engagement activities. via business analytics. So the way I got there again was I clicked on business analytics, I clicked on consumer interest, and then in this center section where it says top properties for the last 30 days, I went ahead and I was under the top 10 most viewed properties. So you can go in there, mass text, mass email, all of those leads, basically about those properties that you've seen them preview, right? There is behavioral automation built into the system. So in some cases, the system's gonna try and start that conversation for yourself, but it's still good practice to go in there and really kind of follow up with the personal approach to those leads. So business analytics, consumer interest, re-engagement with leads who have viewed those properties. The last one in here is to schedule a mass email. Basically what that means is we have the ability to, again, create those filtered lists and save those filtered lists. So for instance, if I saved a prospect last time active filter, I can use the schedule mass email to send out mass emails about new listings to leads who have not been active with interest in the area of which the listing is located, right? Basically what that means is if I go back into my smart CRM, one of the things that I would be doing on a daily basis is coming into here and creating these filtered lists. And once I have the filters that I use, I could always just kind of create them as a clickable tab. But ideally what's going to happen is I can come in and filter out by prospects who are buyers, and I can also use that last time active. All right, so I can go in and say last time active. I could say last year for this demonstration, and then I can pull that list of leads. But the other kind of step that you can take as well and add on to this is maybe you're a listing side agent, maybe you deal predominantly with listings, but you do generate some buyer leads from your listings. You would have the ability to go into here, and in property interest, I can now specify maybe the area of which my listing is coming to the market. Maybe this for this demonstration is the city of Nyack, right, or the area of Nyack. I would have the ability to go in there and create that as a filtered list, save it as a filter, and then one of the things that I would be doing on a not a daily basis, but on a as it comes to the market basis, is going to my marketing autopilot, and under schedule mass email, I would go in here and I would use the new listings template that's already in here, right? So I'm going to say new listings, and then I can also select that saved filter from up here at the top, right? So I can go in and say prospects who were looking in Nyack, right? That would be the name of my filter that I created, or I could just say prospect buyers, right? And then you could actually add to this template if you wanted to. So instead of just saying just listed and then having the main listing, I could go ahead and add some text into here as well. And then you can drop that into there. And then I can say, hey, I can use the merge tags field to actually import or add the lead's first name. And then I can make it more personalized. Just thought you might have some interest in this property. Right? And then I would mass or schedule mass email that out to all those leads, whether it's 100, whether it's 250, 300 leads. The way it's going to work, it's going to queue all those leads, and it's going to start sending them to the leads in that actual filter. So I could use the just listed. I could also drive re-engagement for holidays, right? Maybe I have all my leads in a past client 2017 hashtag. I could go ahead and use that past client 2017. I could also add like my professional services. I could also add my hashtag of past clients 2018. But ideally what we can do now is I can go into that templates tab and I can use a holiday. We have Halloween coming right around the corner, so I can go ahead and start scheduling my happy Halloween emails to be sent out to all those leads with that hashtag. You could also do it by status, right? So I could select up to 3 statuses, whether that's, my clients, my contracts, and my closed. I can then additionally schedule another email to go out just for like my sphere of influence. Maybe it's a little different. Maybe your sphere, you're going to, word a little bit differently. But you have the option and really kind of the unique opportunity here to use these features to really kind of drive that re-engagement. That's going to help you start those conversations. And hopefully that's ultimately going to lead to more success, being that you're creating more opportunities for yourself, right? So we have not only the ability to mass email, mass text in the Smart CRM, we could go ahead and schedule a mass email. We could also mass email leads based off of properties that they've actually been previewing. Now, one thing I did want to kind of leave you all with today is there is a text that I actually really kind of love to see agents send out, because maybe these leads looked at one property and just have not been active on your site. Maybe they have been active. Whatever the scenario is, maybe you've been trying to start that conversation. You're like, Ernest, they just will not respond to me for what to save my life, right? There is one text that I actually love for agents to send out. And we've posted this, or I posted it into the Success Strategies Facebook page. If you haven't already seen it or downloaded or copied it to your personal KV Core, I'll just go ahead and read it to you. Let me get it pulled up really quickly. But essentially what's going to happen is you're going to offer some value or some low-hanging fruit, as some would call it. But basically what's going to happen is you're going to offer and say, hey, I found this property that I think you might love. And essentially it's just designed to get them to say, yes, send it to me. No, don't send it to me. Or hey, I'm just, no longer interested. And that text is going to be this one right here. Let me actually add a new slide into here. But the text that I see agents that they send, in which generates a lot of responses from them for themselves. Normally, this will begin with a intro. So to say hi, you could use the curly braces in order to insert like a lead's first name into a text message. Just came across a beautiful home that I think you'll love. Want me to send you the details. And this is a really cool text, because a lot of responses that you're going to get are going to say, yes, I'd love you to send it to me. Man, I've been searching for the perfect home. Send me what you got, or I'd love some more details about it, right? And the way that you would do that is, of course, you would just, hit on that text button. You could go ahead and text that out, or you could even use this, wording or verbiage for your mass text that you're going to send to those leads who haven't been active in the last month or the last year, or maybe they haven't been active in the last 7 days, right? So we could say, hey, Ernest, just came across a beautiful property I think you'll love. Want me to send you the details? And then your action for when they respond with a yes, because I can almost guarantee you'll get a yes from that text, is I would just quickly go and glance at the summary of what they've looked at. 13 properties, mostly single family in Nyack, 14 beds, 8 baths, $3 million home. And then I would just go into my listings tab right here. And then basically what I would do here is just create that filter, right? So I'd say they're looking in the city of Nyack, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, but they would have a location for that. Their price range is about 3 million. So I'm going to say 2.5 mil to 3.5 mil. And let's see. And then you would kind of create this filtered list, right? Let's take some of these out just so we pull some results. And then I would go ahead and just apply filters and just kind of find one of these first properties that's up here. And I would select it, and then I would text that listing to that contact. So I'd say, hey, Ernest, here's the property I was telling you about, right? Instead of saying, I think you might be interested in this listing. Hey, Ernest, here's the property I was telling you about. Let me know what you think. And then I would send that out. When you put the MLS ID number like this, it's going to send the primary MLS image to that property. It'll then insert that property link for them to click on and go and get more details and see more photos and stuff like that on that property. So you can quickly fire that off if they respond with like a yes. Or you could even send them multiple properties, right? You could start going through and say, hey, while I was looking at that property, I actually found this one that's kind of similar to it. What do you think about these homes? And it's just kind of an indirect way of getting kind of what they're looking for. I might take note of, the homes that I'm sending them and say, okay, they're looking more at like the $1 million range, not the $3 million range, or they're looking more in the $550,000 range, not the $650,000 range. So just some really cool tips and tricks for strategies for success. I'm going to go ahead and send this over to Ryan as well, kind of as we wrap up here. And then we'll also post this into the Inside Real Estate Success Strategies Facebook group so that you could rewatch it if you want. And then I'll try and redrop this to the top so that way you could all go and copy and paste that if that's something that you want to utilize. But other than that, if we don't have any questions or any specific questions on anything that I didn't cover today, I didn't see anything come into the chat, we'll wrap it up there. Perfect. Thanks, everyone.